Oh, well, then I know it won't need a microphone. No recording.
Yeah. So the recording has started, I think. And I can edit this too, but the less editing I have to do, the better. So
I
thank you.
think my Alexa's is listening. Let me go shut her down. Okay,
Everything's listening and spying on you these days. So, okay. So welcome to the Intro to Social Media with US Term Limits. I'm Stacy Selleck, Digital Director, and we'll be going through a little bit of a presentation and talking about how you can help us with our social media activism here to put term limits on Congress. So let me begin this slideshow here. And basically, I wanted to give you an idea of what the social media department does. And that is we take care of all the social media. So that would be Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram for the most part. We maintain our website at termlimits.com. We also maintain a supporter database, and from that we send out our emails and create forms for the website so that people can join our mailing list and join events and meetings like this, and also communicate with their legislators so that if there's an important vote going through during legislative session, they're able to write them quickly and easily with our advocacy tool. We also maintain a lot of the data, so lists of legislators, lists of candidates running for office. We have a CRM where we do that, and we also actually have two CRMs, one for supporters and one for legislators. And then any kind of lists that we need for, lists of volunteers or lists of people in specific states or in specific legislative districts, we maintain those anytime we go out to an event. We get people to sign the petition, we upload those into our database, and so we're really big on managing data. And then, of course, once you have data and information, you want to be able to report on it, see what's working, what isn't, so we review analytics. We also do a lot of the graphic work, so anything for print or online, the memes that you see at Term Limits, our social media platforms, the graphics on our website, and we also do print graphics as well, and all the trade show displays, banners, giveaways, things like that. Our department does as well. We've recently started getting more into videos because that's an important part of social media. So a lot of our videos are posted to Facebook and YouTube as well. Donna mostly does all the press releases. Those are also available on our website, but she'll create the press releases for whenever a candidate signs a pledge or a legislator signs a pledge, and she'll put those on our website, and then she creates a media distribution list, and she sends those out to journalists and media outlets based on where the person is. If it's a state house district, she'll send it out to the zip codes in that area or the important media outlets in that area. If it's a statewide press release, she'll send it out to the entire state. And if it's something that's a national press release, we have a select national media list, and she'll send the press release to them. Other people write the press releases too. So in the case of Ron Hooper, who just joined us as the Western Regional Director, you might hear from him a little bit today. We send his out to the Western media and then some national media outlets as well. We have a blog on the website, and we post regularly. And we would love to have some blog articles from you specific to term limits. You can send them to me at Stacy, STACEY, at termlimits.com. Any kind of articles that inspire you and that you want put on our website, we'll have to review them. And of course, the editing team will edit them, but we'll post them on the website as well. And then what we do is we repurpose content. So sometimes things that are made on our podcast, which we have, which is No Uncertain Terms, it's at termlimits.com/podcast. We contribute to that as well. We contribute audio files and research ideas. We also subscribe to Google Alerts, so alerts.google.com, and that gives us ideas It keeps our eye on the media and what's out there about term limits on Congress, or even term limits at local levels. We'll report on those as well, and we'll post those to the individual state Facebook pages. Donna, I just wanted to make sure that you can check to see if anybody else is joining while I'm doing this, so that you can admit them in.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Didn't want to leave anybody hanging.
Mm-hmm.
So we also do a lot of the promotions and the Facebook advertising, YouTube advertising, Twitter advertising to help us promote the message of term limits and any kind of events that we have. I have blog here twice, sorry about that. But we have, Donna will put the events on our website so that everybody can see them. And she'll also post them to, she'll create graphics for them and post those on social media to get the word out. And then we also do a lot of IT things with software and making sure people have access to the things that they need. We do use Google Suite. We are a nonprofit. We are a member of the Google nonprofit. So we do have Google Suite and any of the platforms associated with that, our advocacy software, etc. And of course, access to all the social media. So Donna and I would credential people to have access to those. Okay, so I kind of already mentioned it, but the platforms that we use the most are Facebook, YouTube, and we actually have 51 Facebook pages, and it's 51, maybe 52. I think it's 51. We have one YouTube channel. We have a couple Twitter channels. Some of the states have their own Twitter. I know Arizona has, North Carolina and Texas have their own Twitter channels. And then we use Instagram and LinkedIn, not so much, but that's something that if anybody's interested in helping us out with, we could really use your support working the LinkedIn account. Okay, so let's talk about Facebook a little bit. That's our largest reaching platform. We have, what do we have there, Don? I think it's on the next slide. This is
800. I think it's like 45,000.
Yeah, 845,000 people have liked our page. We have 52 Facebook groups, one for each state except Arkansas, because we do have a very active Arkansas term limits group in that state, and so they manage the Arkansas Facebook page. And they do have active resolution going through Arkansas, a petition drive. You know, the career politicians there try to knock them off every chance they can get. And they're going to try again this year. Last year, they had way more than the amount of ballot signatures that they needed. And somehow, 50,000 signatures got knocked off and they weren't able to make it on the ballot. But they're picking up again and doing it again this next session to get it on the 2020 ballot. And you can find out more by going to the Arkansas Term Limits Facebook page. We do have our national page. That's the one that has the 840 some odd thousand. We're hoping to get to 1 million likes by Term Limits Day, which is National Term Limits Day. That's February 27th. We're a little bit off that mark, but hopefully with your help, we'll be able to get a lot more likes to help us meet that goal of 1 million by February 27th. We do have one for the podcast, which isn't really well maintained. So if anybody wants to help us maintain the podcast Facebook page, we'd love to have you do that. And then we do have one for the left because we're a nonpartisan organization, and sometimes the messaging has to be a little bit different. So we do have one specific to the progressives, and that is also another one that's lightly maintained. So if you come from that side of the aisle and you want to help us get term limits on Congress, we would love to have you maintain, admin that Facebook page. Okay. Who is our Facebook audience? There's the number that I had from a day or two ago, 841,717 likes. It says followers, but I think it's likes. The demographics of our audience, it's pretty 50-50 men and women, and it's a little bit of an older crowd. 55 and 65 plus is actually the predominant age range for our group. So that's an important demographic to us. Of course, they're very important voters, and they're usually pretty vocal when it comes to contacting their legislators. So we always have a terrific response when we ask them to please contact their state legislator or their congressperson, and they're usually pretty good at that. We love our term limit supporters. Where's the most concentration? Arizona, New York, Las Vegas is the city, and Texas, of course. And then it's going to be followed by some of our better Facebook pages are Michigan, Florida, and Missouri. Those are some top demographics as well. And you can see here, you know, what percentage. So Facebook really isn't 18 to 24-year-olds. That's going to be Instagram. And then let's take a look here at our YouTube channel. That's our second largest media platform. We do have nonprofit partner status, which what that allows us to do is become part of the YouTube Creators Studio, Creators Academy. We can take free online lessons to help us promote our YouTube channel. It also gives us special invitations to certain things, events that they're holding. We could potentially use YouTube Studios if we wanted to, but there aren't any around me. I live in Florida. But if we wanted to, we could travel to any of the YouTube studios and hold live YouTube videos in their facilities there. So if you take a look at this one, it's pretty new to us, this channel. Although we probably had it for 3 or 4 years, we really didn't dedicate a lot of time to it. It really started taking off when we achieved our nonprofit partner status, and once Nick Tumbalidis, our executive director, appeared as gave testimony in front of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, because we do have a resolution in the Senate, SJR 1, where he testified, and his video went pretty viral for us. So it has 1.3 million views here on YouTube. I think it had like 4.5, almost 5 million on our Facebook national page. And we know that a lot of other people have seen it on other platforms. So he has a really, really good reach with that. Not just with us, but also on other channels who promoted it. So here are some of the videos that we have. Again, 15.2 thousand subscribers on US Term Limits YouTube channel. And I maintain this one as best as possible. I try to upload at least 1 or 2 videos a week that either I create or I grab from someplace that we've appeared on a show or something. And also we have Scott Tillman, who's our national field director, and Paul Jacob, who was a former president of U.S. Term Limits and is currently on the board. They'll have some conversations. This campaign finance shenanigans, that's one of them. And then I'll oftentimes repurpose podcast information and create a video out of that and post that to here as well. So again, another important position for volunteers that I would love for somebody to step up and volunteer is to help. We do have the comments turned on our videos, and we do need people to chime in and engage in commenting with our YouTube. We also, because we're a nonprofit partner status, we can post posts on YouTube just like we can on Facebook. So if we have an upcoming event or we have a call to action to contact your legislator, that's something that we can also use and post on YouTube. Twitter is our 3rd largest platform. It was our 2nd largest up until that testimony by Nick, but it is our 3rd largest platform. We have 12,000, almost 13,000 followers on YouTube. For the most part, they're men aged 35 to 54, so slightly different demographic. So we could change the messaging a little bit to reflect that audience. Their income is between $75,000 a year and $200,000 a year, and their net worth is between $100,000 and $1 million. So that's our target audience, and you can see the breakdown of male versus female. I'm kind of shocked. I think I got this from, we do use Sprout Social to help post, so Donna doesn't have to post to 50 2 Facebook pages or properties, including Instagram and not YouTube, Twitter individually. So what she does is she'll use Sprout Social, and it will take the posts and blast them out to all of the different platforms. I got this from Sprout, and I just don't think it's right, because when I went to Twitter, it said 50 and 50. So I'm going to say that probably when I go to Twitter, it's a better, has better analytics, and it's probably more, 50-50 men and women. But it definitely is younger, and the major graphic is probably like 10 years younger than what we have on Facebook.
Yeah, I've been using my own Twitter account to post stuff and retweet and all that kind of stuff and comment. Should I be linking to the Twitter Arizona account?
Absolutely. And I think that's a fantastic idea, Ron. We all should probably have our own Twitter accounts, and we should be tweeting and retweeting. I know Nick has it, Austin has it. Those are 2 gentlemen who work with us, and the North Carolina group is pretty good at retweeting what we do, so that we can help get some of our information out there.
And I would just follow that or retweet it. How would I connect to that? So I'm at Ron Hooper.
You would follow it. Yeah, follow the Arizona Twitter page. And so that every time they tweet out, it comes to yours, and then you retweet it.
Got it.
Good question.
I think I'm doing that. But and then if I want to put something in there, I need to go in and log into that account. And I think Jim is handling that.
Yes, he is.
Great.
And we do have it set up, our national Twitter account as well, so that if he shares the password with you, Austin, Donna, and I all get in on that same account, and we tweet. It'll send me a message sometimes, not the Arizona one, because Jim owns that, and Jim O'Leavy's the state director for Arizona, but it'll sometimes tweet me that somebody new from New Jersey, because that's Donna, logged in, or somebody new from wherever logged in. Sometimes we have our marketing people that we hire, contractors, and they'll get into the account too, and I'll get a notification that they've logged in. But if I recognize the city and the state, then I know that who it is. So we share the account.
And by the way, LinkedIn, I'm active on too. I muted myself earlier, but I'm a big LinkedIn, and so I'm in there all the time. And I'll look and make sure we have a site on LinkedIn. I'm sure we do. I see other people in there, LinkedIn.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we kind of dropped the ball on that one. Do you want to start your video? I mean, do you have your video on, or are you good? I just asked you if you want. Okay, that'd be good. There you are. Yep, you're there.
I thought I was being pretty still there.
Sorry. Yeah, we had to turn your camera on.
No problem.
So, yeah, so if I were you and you wanted to tweet out from there, then absolutely ask Jim for the credentials so that you can use that account as well.
Or connect to him and let him do it, because the more taps we get, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we were talking about LinkedIn, and that's something we haven't really maintained. I think the previous digital director started our account, and I honestly even think that it's probably set up as a person page, and we may have a corporate page. And so I would love for somebody to volunteer to help organize that a little bit better, and then actually get active on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that's awesome. I know you've got your plate pretty full, but that would be awesome.
I'm in there anyway.
At least to start it off. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I mentioned before how Donna posts most of the posts to via Sprout Social, and she schedules those out, so she can schedule them out 6 months in advance. We do have an editorial calendar, so we have an idea of when Congress is on recess and when there are certain holidays like Constitution Day, or like I mentioned, National Term Limits Day. And so we have a pretty good idea when maybe the president's going to give his State of the Union address and different things. If there are court dates for corruption charges, all of the legislative session dates for the 2020 session. Of course, now we're going to get a double whammy. I keep saying that, double whammy next year. That's why we need as much help as we can get from volunteers, because we have the election going next year, as well as legislative session to get our resolutions passed through the states. So we have all those dates on the calendar for the Democratic primary debates, because we're hoping that somebody mentions term limits, and then that'll hopefully our servers go down because of all the people searching for term limits on Congress, because somebody has a national media platform like at the Democrat debates. And we're hoping Tom Steyer does it for us is it October? I think it's October. I haven't checked the calendar lately, but I think there's some debates going on soon. Okay, so we need help desperately because of all the properties that we have, the platforms that we have. We would love for people to help us manage the individual pages. So today I got a lady who's helping manage the Arizona Facebook page. Shout out to Nita. And so some of our top battleground states are going to be Georgia, and Jim Olson's here with us this evening, and he manages that page. I think I just gave him access to it today. But if we could get a volunteer to help you out there, and then whenever you have any votes going up in the Georgia legislature, somebody can help manage and engage the folks there, or any events that you're having in Georgia. Some of the other, go ahead.
As soon as Facebook lets me in, I'll be doing it.
Ah, okay.
And that's the term limits Facebook page for that state?
For that state. So it would be, that one's a little bit different because Georgia is a little bit concerned about having term limits put on their own state legislature. So we just didn't want to make that an issue. So we call it Georgians for Congressional Term Limits.
I think my question was, is we need to make sure that we're as nonpartisan as we possibly can on those term limits state pages, right?
On everything we do, we need to be as nonpartisan as we possibly can. And you'll see that on my last slide here: nonpartisan, 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 and single issue.
There you go.
Yep, single issue.
One thing.
Yep. Sometimes it's a little tough to do, but those are our rules. That's what we have to do. We have to appeal to both sides, because in order to get 34 states to pass term limits so that we can call a convention to propose the term limits amendment, we need to get folks from both states, from both sides of the aisle, both blue states and red states. And so we can't tick anybody off. And knowing that 83% of the population want term limits on Congress, that passes all party lines and all demographics. So we have to be middle of the road there. All right, good point. So we would love for you to help on some. West Virginia is another key state. I know Aaron's doing a great job getting volunteers himself for those pages. Kentucky and Arizona. I mean, not Arizona, West Virginia. Yeah. And then some of the other states right now, we have Pennsylvania. That is an important one, and I know we have a few really good volunteers for that. Iowa is another one that's coming up. What are some of the other states, Donna? Do you remember any of the other ones that we have?
Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana, Mississippi, Virginia, and New Jersey are having elections this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we may target Louisiana next year too. So we'll be able to put a list of our battleground states on a Facebook group that I just created today, and I'll show you where that is in a little bit. But if you want to search for it, it's Digital Volunteers for U.S. Term Limits. So I mentioned before, one of the great ways to know what's going on and where to get content is from Google Alerts. So I have certain things like political corruption, any of the names of some of the leadership on our team here, Scott Tillman, Nick Tumbalidis, Phil Blumel. I have Google Alerts set up for them. I have, of course, Google Alert for U.S. term limits and Article 5 conventions, maybe amendments to the Constitution, anything like that. So Donna and I review those daily, so that gives us a lot of information that we can use to post about or create blog posts or letters to the editor or whatever. And as I said, it's a great starting point for getting content. We do snag any of the letters to the editor that we get or any articles that are really important to us, and we keep a copy of those just so that we have them in our resource database. And so again, going back to Facebook, the one thing that we really need for people to do is review the common questions that people ask and responses. So we're going to put a list together, and I'll show you where you can find some of those on our website as well. And that way, if people have questions and you don't know the answer, a lot of the questions are pretty much the same. Like, Donna, what's the #1 question everybody asks? Or the one comment that they always say it's a myth that we have.
With the elections?
Yeah, we already have term limits.
Yeah.
They're called elections. So we have a canned response for that that makes it easy to respond to. We have articles on our website about that, but we all know elections are not term limits. There are a multitude of reasons why. I mean, when Congress has an 18% approval rating and a 95% re-election rate, and 20% of the seats go uncontested, we know that that's a myth, and I would love for that to work, but it doesn't work that way. Incumbents have a tremendous advantage, and they take advantage of that advantage, and they always get reelected. So it's really, really tough. And oh, well, last election there were a bunch of incumbents who got knocked out. Well, those are the exception to the rule. The incumbents won more often than anybody who bumped out. But if you're going to get them, probably the best way to do it is to get incumbents out of office in the primary. And a lot of times the parties, no matter which party it is, a red party or blue party or whatever party, they don't want challengers to their incumbents because it's a seniority system. They love the seniority and not the meritocracy. So they will do whatever they can to prevent or flood money into that race to knock out any kind of competition. So we know that we don't have, elections are not term limits at all. So those are some things that they're good to review our website, and I'll show you where you can find those there so that you can answer some of these talking points. Okay. So one of the other things that we would like for our Facebook volunteers to do is update the profile page or the profile graphic, update the banner from every once in a while, and especially when there are important events or special votes going on, we would love for that right up at the top there to promote the call to action and have people take action based on what it says up in the banner on the top of the Facebook page. So those are things we would encourage anybody who's volunteering as an admin on our Facebook pages to do. So here are some of those things to reiterate some and maybe bring up some new ones. Help answer questions and respond to comments. One of the big things we have to do a lot of times is hide negativity and block spammers. So if somebody's posting memes that have nothing to do with term limits on Congress and they're hitting up all the pages, or they're looking for personal conversations with people, and they're obviously not term limit supporters, then we would hide those and block any spammers. We don't delete anything. We kind of just let it, we hide it. So you go to the ellipsis up at the top of the corner and you hit hide post. And that would be anything that calls somebody names based on what party they're in, or just negative posts or ugly conversation or any fights going on. We try to hide those because we want people to come to our page and have a pleasant experience and focus on the one thing, which is term limits. And we said multiple times nonpartisan, and really we don't look at it as red or blue. We look at it as the career politicians versus what's right for the people. We would love to increase engagement in your state or every state. So in order to do that, you would have to interact with the people there. So you would have to like their posts, ask them to sign the petition, ask them to take part in a specific action that we have, and just have a conversation back and forth with the folks there, especially educate them. There's another one that I hear, oh, why don't we just make this a ballot initiative? Why don't we just put it on the national ballot and let people vote on it?
Vote, yeah.
Yeah, that's another big one we see
Yeah.
all the time. And what do you say, Donna? What do you tell them?
I don't know. I don't.
So I'll tell you what I say. I say, first of all, there's really no such thing as a national ballot initiative. We're a representative republic, and therefore all of our laws are usually initiated by the Congress. But fortunately, we do have a way. The closest thing we have to a citizen initiative is this Article 5 process to amend the Constitution through a national convention, where we need 34 states to pass a resolution through their state legislatures so that they can propose the amendment for term limits on Congress. But really, there is no such thing as a national ballot initiative. You don't even vote for the president directly. You do that through the Electoral College. So it just doesn't happen. And as a matter of fact, we do have case law, Supreme case law, that unfortunately decided against us, but in a split decision, 5-4 decision, that the states can't term limit their own legislative federal delegation to Congress. It has to be a constitutional amendment like the president has. And actually, that's why we chose February 27th as National Term Limits Day, because that's the date that the president had term limits placed on that position, on that office. So yeah, there's no such thing as a national ballot initiative, and it has to be a constitutional amendment. And the only way to get that proposed is either through Congress or through states at a convention. So that's another, put that feather in your cap and learn that answer so that you can respond to that, because that's a big one. Okay, so we would love for all of our state pages to be focused on the things that are happening in that state. Donna and I can post national things that are going on, or national events, or national press. And a lot of times we post funny memes or memes, you know, that spark engagement, but on a generic level. So I think one of the memes that people, well, a couple of memes I'll show you that people really like. When Congress goes on vacation, did you even notice that they're back? You know, or did you notice that they're gone? So things like that, when they go on vacation, that's on our editorial calendar. So we'll post memes for that. So we would like for people to take action and have local events and local news. So that's why we would encourage you also to write letters to the editor for your local newspapers. And that way they could get posted and everybody can comment on it. And then the politicians are going to see them in their own newspapers. So that's going to help motivate them to vote in favor of term limits on Congress. Ask folks to volunteer. Send them a link to our volunteer page or our petition to sign. So we try to keep those web addresses really, really simple. So termlimits.com/volunteer or termlimits.com/petition. And that'll help folks volunteer and sign up to be on our mailing list. And then finally, we would love for you guys to promote the events and create your own memes and help out the state directors there for the activities going on in the local states. Okay, we already talked about this audience engagement, but here's the slide. Answer questions, like good comments, but don't like bad comments. If somebody says something that's partisan or is another topic other than term limits that might sound partisan, then we're not going to like those comments. We're just going to like the good ones. We might not want to hide them, but we might not want to engage with them. Educate wherever possible. Ask them to get involved. If you don't know the answer to the question, don't feel bad about saying, I'm not really sure, I'm going to have to check and I'll get back with you. Just don't give out wrong information. Direct them to our website wherever possible and ask them to share posts. You know, you might think, oh, if they like this, they're going to share it anyway, but we get a lot better engagement if we actually ask them to share. So don't let them think about what you want them to have done to do. Actually tell them, come right out and say it. So we already talked about hiding hurtful posts and blocking spammers and promoting events. What works best? I gotta get my little face out of the way here. It's blocking my text. Okay. So the best posts are pithy slogans with images. So we like them to be clear and concise with really large text so people can see it. They don't have to read a lot. We almost treat them like billboards, but you'll see we violate the rules as long as we understand them. Some of our best posts have a lot of text on them. Encourage others to share. I already mentioned that. Don't assume they'll know the call to action. State it clearly. Ask them multiple times. If somebody likes a post, so sometimes you say, can you like this or comment somewhere else? And they'll comment there, not on the one that you're asking them to comment on. So it doesn't hurt to ask them again. It doesn't hurt to ask them to like the page or follow the page. And to, like I said, the more people we have working on this, the more engagement we're going to get. And one of the things I've heard a couple times lately is, this is the first I've heard of you. Why haven't I heard of you before? So we want to get the message out there to everybody we know. And then, so just so you know, the posts that work best are the ones with images, then the video posts, then links, and then plain links without any text or whatever, just to another site. But we are trying to up our video posts there as well. Our video posts on Facebook do better because our audience is a lot larger on Facebook. Our video posts do better there than on YouTube, on Facebook rather than on YouTube.
And we find those in the shared folder under videos, I think. Did I see that right?
Well, that's where we've been posting. And so he's talking about our internal shared folders. Is that what you mean, on our Google Drive for the US Term Limits team? We do have videos posted there, but most of the videos I just post directly to Facebook that I work on, or I post directly to YouTube, and you can get them from there.
Great.
Okay. So this is one of the memes that did really, really well. It reached 300,000 engagement in a week. And it's simply, do you think the states should assemble to talk about proposing term limits on Congress? And we think it's way past due. We always try to put our logo on there. We always put our website address. And, Facebook allows us to have a lot of like 4,800 or 5,000 characters. We, of course, don't go that long. Of course, Twitter's going to be a little bit less. Was it 240 something?
Yeah.
Characters, yeah. So this is, the states have constitutional power to assemble to discuss term limits. It's long overdue. If states don't provide oversight, who will? And please sign the petition. So what makes this a good meme is it's got our branding, our logo, our website address. It's simple, it's clear. It's not busy with a lot of stuff going on in the background, and it definitely has a link to our petition. So there's a call to action, and we always try to do one call to action. Sometimes we have two, but most of the time we try to keep it simple. And if you ask somebody to do something and you want them to do one thing, just give them the one thing to do, and hopefully you'll have a better conversion turnover. Here's another one, and this discusses our Article 5 amendment proposal convention that we're trying to get, or that's our mission, through getting 34 states to pass term limits resolutions. Then the term limit convention must be called. So it's pretty simple. It's a Take 5 plan to bypass Congress. That gets a lot of attention. We had 345 likes on this in 3 weeks. And it's one of our more successful memes. And then we, of course, we say share for term limits on Congress at the bottom with our logo. Okay, so these are the common elements: our logo, our website, a call to action, sign the petition, share, like, volunteer. And then usually what we try to do is hook them in with some sort of headline. And usually a lot of the posts that do very well are timely. So they're ones that are currently in the news. You tell them there's a problem, you let them know what the solution is, and then always give them steps to take so that they can work towards fixing that problem. When you see CTA, if I go back to CTA, that's call to action. It's just inside acronyms that we use. So feel free to ask if you don't understand any of those. So rules for our team, nonpartisan. Oh, so we're coming up to one of the last slides here. Nonpartisan, single subject, nonpartisan, single subject. I can't beat that enough, beat that drum loud enough. And single subject means we only talk about term limits. So you might have your opinion on, right to life or gay marriage or, immigration or whatever. We really don't address those subjects. If somebody's addressing those, we kind of divert and let's just say, hey, we're here to talk about term limits, and really that's all. We that's just our mantra, and it's something we have to live by. Okay, here's another big thing that we need to know is we do not endorse candidates. We're a nonprofit. We don't want to get in trouble with any of those, political things. We are allowed to participate in some politics, but it can only be a percentage of our overall budget, what we do. And so we do not endorse candidates at all. If they're going to sign the petition, we will promote them. We will do a press release for them. We will post a graphic for them and the press release and the link to their pledge on our website or on social media. We do not endorse them. They endorse term limits, and I can't stress that enough. Also, we use pound term limits for the hashtag for our social media posts so that they all fall under the category. If somebody looks up term limits, all of our posts will be there so that they can get more involved and understand what it is that our mission is and what we're doing. Don't waste time with keyboard commandos or trolls. Disengage. We don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. So if somebody is really adamantly opposed, just call it a day and move on. You're not going to change somebody's mind that doesn't want to have their mind changed. They're not going to change your mind. So we'll just not participate in that and just disengage. And another thing that we try to do is not step on each other's posts. So Donna, what time do you usually post it? Like 7:30 in the morning?
7:30, yeah, 7:30 in the morning.
Right. So
sometimes another one at 1.
Yeah, 1:30 is a good time for us. We do have dates in another presentation that I'll make available to you, dates and time for when's the best time to post on Facebook. So usually that's like Wednesday in a 1 o'clock time. And people are pretty active between 7:30 a.m. and would you say 7 o'clock at night? And it progressively goes from like 1:30 to 5 o'clock at night. It just ramps up to 7 o'clock. So those are good times to post. Saturday is probably the worst day to post. Like nobody's online. They're all, decompressing from a work week. And so surprisingly Sunday dinner time is a pretty good time to post as well. So we'll guide you through that, when the best times are, dates and times are to post. But if Donna posts a meme at 7:30 in the morning, we would ask you not to post one at 7:31 because we want to get as much engagement on that one post as possible. Sometimes you do it, that's fine. But just try to be mindful that we don't want to step on anybody else's posts. And of course, after a while, you'll get to know your audience and their likes and dislikes, and maybe the types of posts that are good for them or geared to them. And honestly, a lot of the best posts that we have come right from our supporters. So if we're looking and we see this, oh my God, this is such a funny comment, this is so great, we'll take that and turn it into a meme, and then other people will think that's great too. So we just kind of give back to them what they give to us, because they're our audience, they're our customers, and it's important for us to reach them. And the other thing I would say is take charge. If you'll have to come through us to get admin rights to the page, but don't feel shy or bashful about posting or contacting people. Oh, another thing that I forgot to put on this, that I'll have to put on this presentation later, is whenever Donna has a meme that she posts on somebody signs the pledge, she always tags that person. And that way we get to reach their audience. So if somebody else has, 20,000 followers, by all means, tag that person, and we'll make ourselves known to their audience, and hopefully they'll come over and say, oh, wow, I didn't know you exist, or I'm so glad to see you're active. You know, what can I do to help or share, and so that we get more engagement. Okay, so what's next? Send me an email at Stacy, that's Stacey at termlimits.com. Let me know specifically what you'd like to do. You can join the Facebook group, and I'll show you where that is in a little bit. U.S. Term Limits Digital Volunteers, and that way we can communicate with each other through, you know, the texting platform or through, you know, posting in that group. We do want it to be roll up your sleeves and work. Get work done or get stuff done group. We don't really want to have a lot of memes that don't pertain to term limits, unless it's something that you think would benefit the group to get something done. So that's, otherwise I'll be hiding posts or blocking them if it's too much and it doesn't like help us get stuff done. And then if I have your phone number, please expect a phone call from me, and we'll talk about volunteering and where we go from here and what it is that specifically that you would like to do and where we best see that you would fit into our organization as a volunteer. But because I'm saying, well, I'll give you access to our pages, anything that comes from U.S. Term Limits, of course, you know, we'll help guide you through and monitor what you're doing. But by all means, if you have your own Facebook page and your own Twitter following, we don't monitor that. You go ahead and do whatever you need. You don't need any approval for us for that kind of stuff. Share away our stuff as much as possible. So I think that's it for my slide presentation. Does anybody have any questions or comments? So I think the one thing I just wanted to do was show you, if this menu stops moving around here, is this is the Digital Volunteer Facebook group here. If you search for it, it's not a private or secret group. You could search for USTL Digital Volunteers, ask to join. I've already sent a bunch of you emails or invitations to join. We would love to have you there, and let's get this rock and rolling. So if nobody has any questions, I'm going to stop the recording, and welcome to the team. Thank you.
Good job, Stacy. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I just stopped the recording.